Yeah, I was did that.
Um, could you mute that one over there? So yes, we are up and running now, getting everything situated. It's always a situational type thing every Sunday, every day. Because I know y'all see it going on with the think tank too. You had to get in here and get set up, make sure that they can hear, and it's an everyday thing. That's the production. So that's why y'all have to really appreciate the work that goes into broadcast. It's not just we gonna get on the radio and talk. No, it's not just that. All right,
It's work.
it's real work.
It's troubleshooting. It's time. It's
It's all that. So yeah. Okay. Now, gentlemen, in the news, it's been a huge week of news as it always is. We know that a lot of things are happening politically. We are gearing up for November 5th, which is now just around the corner.
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Okay. So first things first. Um, where do we start?
I mean, if you're gonna speak on the 6 weeks, just to get this out there, a lot of these southern states have dropped a whole bunch of voter registrations.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're registered to vote.
So just check your status.
Check your status and make sure you're registered to vote.
There are tons of resources out telling you about dates and times and how to check your status. You can there are so many different ways to check, but I'm going to give you one number now where you can call and see. 1-800-274-VOTE. 1-800-274-VOTE. You can log on the internet, alabamavotes.gov. Facebook even had a spot where you could check your status. You can go down to your registrar's office in your county. I'm not going to assume that everybody's listening in Jefferson County because we reach a lot of people in a lot of places. So the Board of Registrars in Jefferson County, though, is located on Richard Arrington Jr. Boulevard in the courthouse. Okay. So you can call them 325-5550, 325-5550. I said I was going to give you one number. That's two and a website. And you might even be able to Google that. Am I registered to vote? Like you can find everything on Google. Okay. So 6 weeks away. Now you should know that you are registered, where you're registered, all of that,
Right.
who you're voting for. And there are other things on the ballot as well. We'll get to those as time progresses. Now let's talk about what's being said about the election. Any news, any drama with the candidates. Y'all know the drama is what gets the people going. What has Trump said over the past couple of days? I sent y'all something that he said. I'm gonna pull it up. He said he was our protector. Ladies, I'm gonna protect you. Your protector. And he kept saying it, and I kept feeling more and more icky as he said it. You're not gonna have to worry. You're not gonna have to have any anxiety about abortion. A couple of other things he said, but he said, I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna be your protector. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah.
It didn't make I'm seeing it
wasn't
didn't really make
genuine. We
you
heard
feel
it.
a way. I felt a way about it, but like what you think?
Well,
Shonda said, I feel more and more unprotected. Like that statement alone let me know that you're about to be really ridiculous. You're gonna make it really hard for women.
Yeah.
Am I sounding more and more like him?
you sounded more and
I've
more
been
like,
practicing
yeah.
because it's so funny to me.
Just limit the words. You good.
Five words.
Real
Lou.
good. It's gonna be really big.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but the problem with that is, look where he was, right? So he's gonna say what he needs to say
Okay.
where he needs to say it.
Mm.
Is there any
Authenticity?
to this? Probably not.
Okay.
Because he's a populist, and so I did see a couple of interviews where they were really kind of ramming up on the talk about some of the people who have been affected on the abortion tip,
Mhm.
and feeling like he's the direct result of why. So when you talk about protection, these are people who have already experienced, because of the state bans, have already experienced the lack of protection of their rights. So what do you mean by protecting? What are you protecting us from?
The way that he speaks.
You can barely protect yourself.
What's up? What's up? What's up? This Mr. Bay on here. I'm looking at my people checking in. So
Okay.
yeah, he can barely protect. I caught that. He can barely protect himself. That's not his job, Mr. Jonathan. That's the job of the Secret Service. First of
He's a
all,
political grifter. His celebrity status,
you
allowed
seem so under enthused,
his political and wealth.
so underwhelmed, Eddie.
He's found his way into being able to just say what he wants to. He's using
Yes.
the seat of the president to heal some trauma that he got
Oh,
from not being seen by his parents, by being cast away to the side by his folks. And now he is using this platform to do it. And what we finding out is he a one-trick pony. He's just saying whatever needs to be said in order for people to believe that he will do something that he has no plan to do. Like at this point, even Fox News talking about his lack of a plan versus Harris's actual plan. They are criticizing his tariffs. To say we're gonna charge 20% extra tariffs for China, that's 20% extra on whatever you buying. Like they starting to see, like, listen, you need to come up with some tangibles,
sense.
bro.
Yeah, still not making sense. But his numbers are up as it relates to Hispanic voters when it comes to immigration. Now I saw that and I was like, what? Those numbers don't match.
So it's a peculiar issue with the Latino population because they end up being single issue voters. And the issue is all of the Latino community that are here legally versus those that are coming here illegally, because the ones coming here illegally impacts their American reality. Because when police officers pull over Latino, they use their eyes. And so they can't tell whether those individuals are legal or not. And so a lot of the Latino community end up being single issue voters because they do want the borders closed. They do want to figure out how to stop these Latinos from coming over here because we here. That end up being a single issue. And so that the Republican Party has always held a large majority of the Latino population, which you wouldn't think, but there are a lot of people over here that have family that they would like to be able to come over here, or they would like to go see, or they would like to be able to go across the border and be able to come back.
Understood. Okay.
So,
understood. Hey, Victor. Okay, so 994-8949 is the number. Jonathan, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I agree, brother. That is their biggest issue because it cuts into their economic pool, right? These are people that are coming for competition. They don't have a problem with the groups that they're in now, but the problem is you have the other group as well, the drug group, and it's bringing attention and heat to them, right? So the more the fentanyl comes in, the more this becomes even more of what it is. It brings even more heat and light to them. So not only is it economic, but it's that stigma of labeling that we see going on in Springville. So like everybody's just going to this one group because of this one statement made by Vance and Trump. So on one hand, it's we're here and we're good. We don't need no more. It's kind of what we do too.
Yeah, but the issue is that with the Republican Party, if the only thing you got to hammer, everything becomes a nail. And so the way that they've been trying to tend to the border issue has been using a hammer to fix all the problems when you need different tools. And what the Democratic Party been trying to do is come up with tools, because we know the nickname, one of the immigration nicknames for President Obama was the importer in chief or deporter in chief. So it is a part of the presidency, regardless of whether you're Republican or Democrat, to figure out who should be here and who should not be here. But you got to handle it with more delicate tools than just sledgehammer to the issue, which build a wall is an element. Like if you ask third graders, how do you keep people from getting to one side to the other side? They're going to say,
build a wall.
That's his solution.
Right. Makes sense. Man, so very elementary politics is what we're seeing. And the solutions are very, very basic and just kind of like off the cusp. I'm just going to, this is the easiest solution I can come up with. And we got enough money to throw at it to make it make sense to somebody. That's what I'm gathering.
Oh yeah, that's going to be major.
The debate on Tuesday for JD Vance versus Coach Walz. So this is the vice presidential candidate debate. How are we feeling about that? I think we know that the presidential debate did what it was supposed to do. What do we think is going to happen with the vice presidential debate?
A little bit more competitive, because Vance has been schooled in this arena, so he'll have a lot more talking points. But I think Coach has a way of just talking to the players, if so to speak.
Okay.
I'm looking for
huddle up, guys.
I'm looking for the genuine touch, the realness to come out, and I think we're gonna really get a chance to see how fake this guy is. Like literally, like you're just living a whole lie, and I think it's gonna be exposed on Tuesday.
Okay.
Agreed.
Eddie, you had some really interesting points about JD Vance.
As far as
like a Teddy Ruxpin doll.
As far as JD Vance to me seems like if an AI, if they chose an AI to be the vice president, like he's not humaning properly. He ain't social.
He's malfunctioning.
I don't know. He might be working the way he's supposed to. But like for him to have been chosen by the elites to be the person that would be the vice president in this moment, and to have struggles with connecting socially, to be going to these locations like the donut shop and just not having awkward interactions, to be making up lies about the Haitian community and being like, his defense for that was saying, hey, look, we're going to make up lies to bring the Americans' opinion about immigration into the
it's scary,
dialogue.
Man.
Like, he just don't seem like he doing the same stuff that ChatGPT was doing when it first came out. Like ChatGPT, when they was trying to figure out how plagiarism work in the system, they was like, the ChatGPT was taking ownership of books that it didn't write.
Like, why are you lying? It was
doing like weird stuff. And so I'm just saying that to say, I think that it's going to be charisma versus programming on the debate stage.
So 1 minute we're gonna be like, yeah. Next minute we're gonna be like, just looking, trying to figure it out.
I think there's a version of programming that would be okay. Like when we see the primaries, that's when programming be looking good. You see which one of the Republicans or Democrats has the best talking points, who was able to be the most teachable, who was able to stay on task, who was able to connect some dots. They didn't have to connect that many, but from what the other person said, you can connect some dots. I think this is going to be very hard for JD Vance, because if y'all have never heard football coaches talking at practice, talking on the field, they are responsible loose cannons.
Okay.
Like they ain't the kind of loose cannons that's going to harm nobody.
And not a Trump loose cannon.
No, and not like a Trump loose cannon, but like they're going to say whatever it takes to kind of motivate the boys.
Right.
And they dealing with little immature, unadvanced minds, right? The testosterone. And so I think he going to run circles around JD Vance, because I think people need to see somebody being genuine more than they need to see somebody being informed. That's if JD Vance was informed at level 10. I think he informed at level 3.
Wow.
I don't think he's informed.
You just show no love.
Just asking the wrong questions. Asking the wrong question to AI, man.
994
right questions.
8949 is the number. 994-8949 is the number. I'm going to come to you in a moment. Shouts out to everybody in the comments. White lies had black people killed. says Bobby Jackson Jr. Thank you for tuning in. Got somebody on the phone lines now. We'll come to you in a moment. Vance said, if I have to lie to get votes, I will do it.
That's what he said.
He said, sounds like Trump, don't it? Not just sounds like a cartoon, don't it? Because what?
You already made a meme.
Man, what? Yeah, like that's crazy.
He said he made the meme, so he got exactly what he want, attention.
I said I'd lie, so just be lying.
Like that kid that kept getting sit in the corner. And then when he got sat in the corner, he just kept doing stuff so he can stay in the corner. It's like, I don't really want to be over there with y'all. Y'all make me come over here.
Why did y'all make him come over here is a bigger question, right? So the way that politics plays out, we're seeing it now. And they say JD Vance is the epitome of that. Caller, you're in with the show. What's your question, comment, feelings?
Hey, me local lady Woo.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing? It's been a long time.
Something good, something good about to happen.
Hey, wait, man. Hey, man, good to hear from you, sweetheart. Okay, it's been a minute. We ain't heard from James Madison in a minute.
It's been a while.
Have you know him, Jonathan? That's one of our favorite callers. He calls in to the stations to check on everybody. Really sweet and works over close to your area. I'll tell you where so you can go give him a shout. Go holler at him. All right, 994-8949 is the number if you want to be a part of the conversation. Just a weekend review of all of the politics, all the things that have been happening. Yeah, we're talking about it, and you can be a part of that conversation as well. So we heard about that was just a touch of what Trump has said over the week. I actually sent you guys something, and I'm going to have to go and find that. But it was a quote that he was saying about Kamala. He quoted something just real. Do you see it? It wasn't nice. I didn't really like how he handled it.
Calling her mental. Man, he called her mentally.
Yeah, no, my phone was locked till
disturbed, mentally ill. Yeah.
Really?
Him about that. Yeah, he called her mental.
And what I sent you all, just see if you can find that. But keeping it moving. He said some things, and I'm seeing that his tone is getting more and more aggressive as it comes to Kamala Harris. At first, he was a little bit, his aggression was passive, but now he's being directly aggressive and saying things that are just, he's really loose. Eddie, you talking about a coach, a loose cannon, but he is really being more aggressive, and it's one of those things where this is his last. It's my last defense mechanism to talk about her. Now I'm making direct shots. Everything is her fault. She did that. The border, she did that. She did that on her own directly. Have you all noticed a change in his tone when it comes to how he's addressing his opponent?
And Fox News and he's losing points in the polls because people are getting tired of him talking to her like that. And to be frank, I think that is a calculation that the Democratic Party made when they chose her. Because you can't go too hard on the racism and you can't go too hard on the misogyny. Now, you can do it when it is a white opponent. You could do it when they are like the passive participants in the situation. But if the person that you're talking about is a member of the class that you're using them to, you can't go too hard.
Hey, you better fall back.
So I always wondered what their campaign was going to be. And they don't even have a nickname for her. The only nickname they have is saying her name wrong. Instead of saying Kamala, they're saying Kamala on purpose. And that's all they can do. Because in my head, I imagine that when they was in a round table meeting trying to figure out what can we call her, everybody was being too racist and too sexist. And so they just were like, let's just pronounce her name wrong for real.
Yeah, like let's stay where we are. But his tone, LeVert said he's losing his mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just really one of those things where he's struggling to keep, he doesn't have any real political stance to take, so he can't do that. But it's a lot of picking, it's a lot of gloating, and we're going to talk about another narcissist later on in the show. But he's really showing that narcissism, and it's pretty sad.
What he said about Kamala is directly responsible for every bloody crime scene, funeral, orphan trial.
That's it.
No names and numbers. Thousands and thousands of people killed by immigrants that she led over. Blood is on her hands. On 11/5, she'll be sent back to California. We'll begin the biggest deportations ever.
That's what he said.
Like, she's responsible. So like now anything that has happened, and he was tying that into the immigrants.
Correct.
And the idea that immigrants, illegal citizens or illegal people who are in the United States of America are committing all of these crimes by the dozens and dozens. He didn't go billions and billions and millions and millions, but he did go dozens and dozens, hundreds and hundreds of murders are happening, and that the illegal immigrants and migrants are doing it. So everything that's wrong now in the United States is because of the immigrants. It's like the heat is off of us with our brown skin. Now it's on those who it's on the smaller groups of people of color for the most part, because these are people, these aren't these are people of color. And he's changing his tune. Everything is them. They're doing everything.
So when you run out of, and it's kind of that thing when you start running out of intelligent things to say, you go into insults.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's where we are in the campaign. He sensed it about maybe a week before the debate. But now here we are, we got post-debate numbers. And her numbers, although didn't improve a lot, she started making grounds in one key state where we have another clown.
Okay.
Robinson. They started making grounds in North Carolina.
Is that the Black Nazi?
Yeah, that Black Nazi.
I want to talk about him, but I was kind of locked out. So I wonder, where did he come? What?
But when I start seeing North Carolina start coming back in play, it's like he started losing it. Even his last rally, man, it was like he's just talking about nothing. But he starts out good for about 10 minutes and he's going straight into the negative. And people are actually walking out. Like literally, like they're just tapping out of his.
I know you said that, but I'm wondering, who are these people that are walking out? Are these like paid walkers, or are these people that are really going for the rally and realizing that this is, they're being converted while they're there? What's happening?
I don't know who they are, but people are actually getting tired. As a matter of fact, I was down in T-Town driving a lot of our brothers and sisters for the game as they were going out. And one lady, one of my sisters, she was like, "Oh my God, he's gonna be here. Why did he have to come this time?" Like, I wonder. Everybody is not feeling it no more. And so that I just listen to them, let them talk. And I'm running to that more and more, even in Birmingham, even in Homewood. I'm picking up people and they like, "Whoo, you just gotta make sure he doesn't get in." It's like, and I'm sitting here like, wow. But flip note, they gave him a standing ovation at the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a really awkward place to be in, because I don't know if you just give him respect because he's the former president.
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely. Like, yeah, they're gonna do that for the rest of his life. I mean, they still refer to it. They're gonna refer to him as President Donald Trump forever. And that role, I don't think the American psyche is going to let that role be something that we don't respect because of Donald Trump.
Okay.
So I do think they're gonna clap for him as having reached the pinnacle of being the president of the United States, without necessarily caring about him for real. So I don't really think that's a big metric of some kind of value to him. But what you were saying is that, like, when you run out of intelligent things to say, you go insults. But I don't think he ever had nothing intelligent to say.
Wow.
I think that the insults are just getting more egregious, because he 100% started off on "she just turned black."
That was one.
Yeah, that was
the beginning, and it just declined from there. Like, there was no level of civility there. Like, at any point of that situation, you know what I'm saying? There was no point where he acknowledged her as human.
Yeah.
There was no point at which he acknowledged her as valuable. There's no point at which he credited her accomplishments. Matter of fact, one of the next ones was she slept her way to the top.
Yeah.
Now, I hadn't heard that.
Oh yeah.
Willie Brown.
Yeah.
Somebody named Willie Brown that was early in the politics.
Absolutely.
Who they're saying was married, but the reality is he was separated. But they've used this dialogue to say that she slept her way to the top. Which, if 4.9 million people voted for her to be the AG, so it's like you can't sleep your way to the top in an elected position. You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Because she's a woman and we always sleep our way somewhere. I ain't sleep.
So it was never anything of value to say, to at least seem as like, play the game. Play the game. Like, pretend like you're, accepting your opponent's challenge in a respectful way. But when you don't do that, you already losing.
Yeah, no, I don't even know how to do that. I don't know how to play that game.
So let me flip it this way. So how do you feel as a brother? I want to flip it that way. We're brothers. How are brothers feeling with these attacks?
They say that's the question, that the brothers are the ones.
Should we not be protecting at this moment. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Levert said that's the former mayor of San Francisco. Yeah. She worked with him. Okay, thank you for that. Like, should you all be protected?
Yeah, like ain't it time for us to?
By whom?
I mean, I think men who always been protecting black women gonna always protect black women and been protecting black women. I don't think it's a new call to do anything different. For me, it's not a new call to do anything different. But how do you protect the black woman that's the president? Well, I correct people. I correct especially men when they say her name wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's Kamala. They did a whole thing at the DNC about how to say her name. Yeah, let's say it right. You know what I'm saying? When they espouse lies about her record. Mm-hmm. I correct them. You know, it's like all I think
that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, all these conversations about, you know, she locked up all these black men for this and that and this and that. And I'm like, listen, the biggest mistake she made was being a woman and going into the legal system, number one. But it worked for her, so I don't think it was a bad thing for her life. But if you measure her by her ability to be a black person in a good old white boy system and to be sending less people to jail, your psyche is the one that's tainted, you know. But again, like I said last time we talked about Kamala, win but foot on that neck after she get in there, like no mercy. Like I think that there's room to be black people who disagree with some of her policies, but acknowledge Trump as the worst. Like I said, I just don't think a lot of people have the intellectual capacity to consider that there are more compartments than just two. And so some people be like, well, if I don't like her for these reasons, then this must be the option.
Like what?
And I think that's what when you see blacks for Trump behind him at the rallies, and you see them lineups they got, and you understand, you know, what kind of, you know, black dudes they is.
These are paid actors that are mentally deranged.
Listen, there is a no crisp lineup to Republican. That's a Venn diagram there. Black men without an edge up to being Republican is there. Go look at all of them.
Eddie. Iggy said that he's not accustomed to dealing with women of her intelligence level.
Those pictures are AI generated.
Guys, come on. He's not accustomed to dealing with women of her intelligence level. Facts. And I see that just with men and women, period. The dynamics between men and women, period. Men tend to stray away and stay away from women who are more intelligent, women who can defend themselves and speak up intelligently about things, that can voice their opinion and facts as well. Women ain't really winning. They're winning in circles of other educated people, but the general public being able to receive those people and those ladies, that's I see it. I feel it. I see it.
You know, it's also easy to be a black grifter.
What does that mean?
It means that if us three sat in a room and said, "Hey, we're gonna use we're gonna pretend like we Republicans to get rich," we can get rich. Silk and Diamond, y'all remember Silk and Diamond?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very easy to be a black person in the realm of politics and to rise very, very quickly.
Facts.
It's a lot. That's
just be ignorant.
Candace Owens. If you're willing to betray what your morals are, now I can't say that they don't genuinely believe those things.
Yeah.
But what I can say is that if you don't believe those things and pretend like you do, you can do well for yourself.
So is that a form of attention seeking? What are we doing here? Like
mental illness. Regina says that pretenders are delusional. So she kind of we're getting there. We're getting there. Pretenders are delusional from the top down. And that's just really, I feel like they're fake. Like, So just kind of looking at the people who are pushing these different platforms, like it's probably somebody listening now to saying that we are mentally deranged and all of those different things too, because of what we talk about. There's somebody out there listening saying that every week. Y'all think so?
Somebody,
yeah, maybe. I got somebody in my family that
you delusional.
That think that.
How y'all feel like that? It don't become. 994-8949 is the number. Get in on this conversation. Like, are you the person in the room at the water cooler that everybody's looking at really crazy when you start talking about politics and your views and opinions and how you're putting things together based on what the politicians are saying? Are you the one that people avoid conversation with because you get too crazy and passionate about it and your views are really weird?
I think people are lazy. I think that people just don't go actually learn the information and research the data. No, like news for me is just the breadcrumbs to going to do my own research, finding out the history of stuff and how things came to be the way that they are. But a lot of people, when I'm talking about Kamala's record, there are people who are hearing me and being like, that ain't true. She did lock up all them people because she heard it, but they didn't go do the research. They didn't go collect the data.
Right.
I am not saying what I'm saying from an uninformed position.
Let's go to the phone lines. Let's see if our callers are informed. You ready?
Let's do it.
Caller, you're in with the show. Go.
Yes, indeed. Greetings. Woo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
It's this thing going. Okay, first and foremost, I just want to say, man, I want to give thanks to the ancestors, the forerunners, the foremothers, the ones that paved the way in order for to be here on this platform. I want to give thanks to the ones in the studio with you, Woo. And last but not least, give thanks to your hard working self, you know what I'm saying, for doing all that you do, being around the city. I bump into you here now. I work for the city, so I'm always paying attention and watching. You dig?
I know who this is. Carry on, sir. Thank you for that.
So anyway, I just want to say that I'm gonna be looking forward to this debate with the VPs. But besides that, we have an issue. Okay, it can be testosterone. It can be chemical. And we definitely know that it's psychological. Okay, we deal with a lot of our people, okay, of our culture that deal with from no information to low information people. Okay. And this is what we deal with when it comes to a time to make decisions upon on a larger platform like this. You dig? So once you do meet someone, you ever been in a room at some point, someone's been somewhere around someone that's been kicking some high level information, wisdom and knowledge or whatnot, economics, you know what I'm saying? And you kind of felt lost because you wasn't tapped in or you wasn't, you know what I'm saying, tuned. So my ideal is that's what you see with the orange head guy. If you ever looked at his nephew's interview, he would tell you, he got a book that's called The Way We Got Like This. Yeah. Okay, check it out. All right, he would tell you that Trump is terrified. It eats him up to know that there's a female, okay? Because he's used to dominantly, ignorantly, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Doing what he want to do and saying what he want to say, having his way. But it eats him up and it makes him all, you know what I'm saying, irritable inside in front of people. You know what I'm saying? When he's up against this particular level of knowledge and intelligence. So, that's just really what it is. And, all of us kind of show that trait at some point when you go against that. And then you don't want to do what you're supposed to do for a study. He's supposed to be listening to his advisors, you know what I'm saying, around him. He fires everyone that tries to actually direct him and guide him and say, man, read from this. You know what I'm saying? Talk about this. And he said, I'm not going to do that. Mm-hmm. And I know y'all seen the other one last night. He was in Wisconsin. He said, I had to sit here and listen to her bullshit. You see what I'm saying? He's actually acting out now. This is what you see when a guy is losing his temper. He's losing everything now. And he kind of seems and feels that he's heading in that direction. He's going to lose.
Okay. Thank you for that comment. Okay, let's take this one back to back. Y'all put a pin in whatever he said that you want to speak on. Caller, you're in with the show. Questions, comments, thoughts, feelings.
What's going on, my favorite group of folks? How y'all doing?
What's up?
You got it. Hey, look, I'm just when it comes to anything with our people, a lot of time, I believe that the simplicity of truth is what they don't like. Like, it can't be that simple. So I need to believe a lie. I need to get into something. I gotta take on the non-truth of it because truth is too simple. Truth is obvious. Truth is this is what it is. This is how it is. This is what it's go. Hey, look at what he's done. Oh no, he can't be that way because that would mean that he's this way. So I'm not gonna believe what he told me. It's like people say, don't believe your lying eyes. I seen you, bro. Like I seen you. Oh no, that ain't what you saw. You ain't see because I wasn't doing that, but I saw you do it. Nah, that ain't how that happened. But so to explain the simpleness of it, or to say, hey, this is what it is. This is how it is. Accept what it is. People don't like to accept simple truths. They rather a lie. They rather difficulties. They rather all the other stuff that go with it, because the truth it cuts things too dry. It takes it and put it right where it needs to be so you can move on. People don't like to move on.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what the problem is. It's simple truth that they don't like. They like all the stuff that go with the lie.
Okay. They don't like the truth. Okay, y'all. So that was a lot. The brothers came with it right then. 994-8949 is the number if you have a comment that we don't see on the screen. So we see comments and we see things that we see, but you may have something that we're not reading, that we're not acknowledging. So if that's the case, hit us up, 994-8949. Guys, what did you just hear?
You know what? I 100% agree with the sentiment of Trump crashing out.
I'm gonna crash out.
Yeah,
And
this is the
see.
beginning stages of that. He acting out right now, and it's exposing parts of him that he's had the luxury of not showing because he was going up against somebody that was a home run knockout of being able to call him Sleepy Joe, saying Joe Biden, man, they've been hiding him in the basement. He too old. And he don't have the luxury of saying these same things with somebody who is much more intentional, much more well educated and well informed.
Yeah.
Who, by all intents and purposes, has better policies. Who, if you zoom into some of the stuff that the Biden administration has been doing, there's a lot of victories that they're not really talking about like they should be. But I think that's because she's trying to separate herself from Biden's administration for the reasons of the problematic thing that's going on. And so, and he got somebody that he can't be racist or sexist towards.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so,
gosh, my hands are tied. I can't be crazy. I can't be as crazy as I want to be.
What I imagine is when they send in these conference rooms, they really can't find out a strategy. They have really done nothing that looks like a coherent strategy of what to do regarding this campaign outside of spread lies and just stand up on the stage and say stuff to make people walk out.
and really, like, it's not, it used to get the people going, but it's not getting the people going. So we say, I think we'll find that out November 5th, 6th, and 7th to kind of see what happens if it goes in whichever direction that it goes. Jonathan, I know you said that there was an educated philosopher that calls these elections, right?
Yes.
And I heard that he's already called it.
He did.
Who did he say?
Harris.
So with that being said, what's going to happen? What is this going to look like? What are we preparing for? And I think that's more of what I'm wondering about. Like, what does this look like? I imagine us in spaces of being the president and being in cabinets and being like how much work that has to be, how level-headed we have to be. Like you are the president. You are the top citizen of the whole United States of America. That's a lot of responsibility.
Right.
Everybody that's in your cabinet, everybody that is a part of that, it is a huge undertaking.
So I'm gonna do a round table because
okay.
So one thing is for me, with this particular individual, this is his third time running, right? So you were able to do what the insult to two of the candidates, right? So you had success with Hillary, you crashed her out. You almost had success with Biden because it was a really close race. Mm-hmm. And now here in this race, it worked until the switch. So you haven't had a whole lot of time to come up with a hashtag.
Okay.
Now we have a situation where you've scratched for about 8 weeks to find something. And you or know your people can find anything.
Okay.
So now let's push the button a little bit. So now since we have nothing to scratch at, no hashtags, the only thing you can do is demean, throw insult, and throw a temper tantrum, right? That's where you are in this, because you know that you're losing, right? And so Alan Lichtman called it for you in 2016. Okay. Against all of the pundits, against all of the polls. That same person has now called it for her. Mm-hmm. So you have this information because you brought it up in 2016. So you know that Alan Lichtman is pretty much 9 for 10, 10 for 10. Depends on how you look at the 2000 stolen election.
Okay.
All right. So how do you act if you know you're going to lose?
And so you, how
to
do you,
a woman that magnifies everything.
How do you act if you know you're going to lose to a woman of color, to whatever else it is that you stand against? So this is how you act. This is how it starts to happen. And then after that, you let your people act.
Right. And your people are going to act. And so when we get to that day, we're going to be looking at states like Georgia and the delay that it's going to take for us to really, really know. But we're going to already know. I'm looking for something weird to happen. This is October, surprise month. I'm looking for something weird to show up in this month.
Surprise.
The Israel situation has already taken a heated seat, right? So really social unrest will be the only other thing that you can actually manufacture. And I think that's what the assassination attempts was all about, or whatever, to create this hysteria of social unrest.
So, okay. I was with you on everything until the social unrest and the attempt. So the attempts, I know that Lichman says that they are like directly aligned with the
keys.
That, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm looking locally at like the mass shootings that we're having. Okay. That to me would bring about more of social unrest than any attempt that Trump has said that he's been involved in. Like if we looked at it from a real standpoint, where we're seeing like assault rifles and Glock switches and bumps to all this stuff, and we're having all these discussions about things that are really impacting multiple people, and this can happen at any moment, anywhere. I could see that creating more of mass hysteria than anything else, because this isn't, like I said last week, this is not the first time that this has happened locally. Like when we talk about mass shootings where 4 people have been killed and others injured, tons of others injured. This is like the 3rd or 4th time in Alabama alone. So do you all not think that if we start taking more active approaches to dealing with gun violence and guns on the streets, and then like the martial law or whatever, National Guard, whoever's starting to come into these places, that wouldn't bring more of that attitude or that energy of civil unrest, having nothing to do with national politics? Because I don't think it has anything to do with national politics that's going to cause civil unrest. I don't. I think it's the everyday fight that would bring that, and then maybe the presidential candidate or the presidential winner would be the one to speak up to kind of bring peace to it.
And it's interesting you brought that up, because Mayor Wolfson was just in Washington D.C., right? And Biden pledged to do an executive order for the gun, the task force, and all of that. But then immediately following, we have a governor who comes out and says, "I'm not sending any National Guard," so that's foolery, and I'm not going to waste resources, taxpayer resources, to do so. So
waste,
because you got to look at it from this point. If they actually do something about guns, it trickles down to do something actually about what you have built your country on, which is another system.
Okay.
Right? So that has to stay there. But when we talk about this national scene, what else could cause unrest besides y'all trying to take our guy out? Right. And so I don't see him caring about Birmingham.
No.
I hadn't heard him mention it one time. I heard Harris mention it. Okay. I saw that. Right.
Okay.
Well, she was present in that moment, right? But have you heard him say anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, because they don't care.
Which makes me really look at the more local level civil unrest and things that could pop off. We're around here looking for solutions and answers to these problems. Chicago had the same problems. LA has had these problems before. Other major cities have had these problems. And they became national issues. But these are things that are happening right in our own areas that we don't have the answers to, and that I don't think anybody has the answers to. But I could see that being a pivotal push for any presidential candidate to start tackling. Because these are not immigrants and migrants doing this in our neighborhoods.
No, it's not. But it's kind of going along with the flow. That's why he did the whole migrant thing. It was to cause social unrest.
All right.
I mean, Kamala Harris is a law enforcement officer.
That's what she said. Like,
I don't think she will tackle guns, because I don't think she think the solution is what the general Democratic sentiment. She probably more aligned with Republican sentiment on policing.
I got you.
She probably ain't got no kind of defund the police sentiments. She probably ain't got none of that sentiment. So it's probably her best interest not to talk about that, because you probably get her caught up in the history of a record that she had at the AG in the state of California. So it's just be real easy to start pinpointing at places where she disagreed with stuff. So it's probably her best interest to stay away from all of that stuff right now.
Yeah.
And I think she's the juxtaposition that she is in is that being the vice president, she can't say stuff that go too far away from the position that she's in. Right. And hence we don't get to hear how much different her presidency can be than the current administration that she's participating in. Because for me, frankly, I've struggled with what to do with this administration based on their continued support for Israel.
And see, a lot of people don't even know what any of that is about. Folk don't know. They don't know about what Palestine stuff. They don't know any of that. They don't know anything about any of it. And I don't know if we could give a quick crash course at the top of the next hour or not, but people don't know that they aren't moved by that because they don't know. That ain't got nothing to do with over here in the United States. Why are we even talking about that?
I mean, I can give you one.
What it?
I can give a crash course.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all gonna hang around for the crash course? Yes, they said yes. Let's read these comments. Let's see what we got going for the Fast Five of the first hour. Let us see. Let's start with Levert. Trump is a bigger supporter of Israel than this administration. Oh,
yep, he is.
I wonder if he knows what he's supporting, though. Interesting.
He's in their pocket.
He's supporting a probably wannabe dictator the way that he does all the other ones. Because Netanyahu is, for all intents and purposes, a problem. He don't even. Before anything with Palestine popped off, they were already trying to get Israel was already trying to get him out. And let's be clear. When I talk about this, there's a difference between the Israeli government and the Jewish people. There's a difference between the two.
Okay. Comment. Ask mental health professionals, sociologists, criminologists, and advocates. They have the answers. A politician cannot provide an answer because they're not on the streets like grassroots organizations and activists. I agree to a degree.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Brother Keith.
Don't be fooled by Trump. He doesn't want peace for Israel.
Wow.
Simply said. Thank you, Miss Lavender. Andrews, that's part of the reason for the war. Trump moved the region and gave the Israelis Jerusalem. That's holy ground. Why y'all even bothering that?
Same people been fighting
forever. That's crazy.
We can do a crash course.
That's crazy. You got your Bible?
I got it.
You got your notes?
I got it always.
My goodness, that's a whole class.
Yeah, you can't get that in no 10 minutes.
And I've been in church all my life, and I still don't know what
the peoples,
who, when, where, why. And then how other people from outside get involved in that. Like, why are we in that? Why, what? Yeah.
Family Feud.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Family Feud. That's the part. Okay, no, I just already read that one. So yeah, more comments. If you post them, we'll put them up right now. Just wrapping up the whole first hour, the first course. So much to talk about. Politically, everything is coming out now. Politics and government and law. Man, so much coming out in the law, on the law side of things, which is going to lead us to the second half of the show. But that's the other part of this. Trump has some open cases too while he's running. That is so crazy. Well, okay. More comments. Let's see. No, he did not. God assigned them that land, not Trump.
Yeah. Not the same people though, Sister Lavender.
So that's the thing. Like who is who they connected to? What tribe?
Yeah, that's not the same.
Is it the descendants fighting the other descendants? Like, we don't really understand what's happening. We don't know why they over there fighting, but we know that the United States has gotten involved in it. And we remember, like, even before this one, we remember people saying free Palestine. We grew up seeing them breaking down a wall in the Michael Jackson videos. Didn't know what that, like you said, they've always been fighting and we can't even keep up. We don't even know who or what. I bet if you ask your class tomorrow, they're going to be like, what? Who?
Tuesday, I might be. My AP is pretty good.
Cause what? They probably don't. I'm telling you, it's so much. Okay. If you know what it is, I want you to call in and break it down.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear the opinions and thoughts on who thinks that they really are following and understanding what's happening in the homeland. Levert, those are not God's people, neither the Israelis or the Palestinians.
Sister Lavender, come on back in the room. I want to hear from you.
I just want to hear from somebody that can break it down. Who is this? Judah? Is this the tribe of Noah? Is this Ham? Is this? That's why we need Bible study back. Okay,
bring it back.
Fast Five. We are look, gosh, people. Is that what you might be voice texting? God's people were the Israelites. Israelis are not Israel. See, that's when it gets all, all complicated.
I was waiting on Keith to come on.
Come on, Keith. Let's see. The real Israelites are scattered throughout the world. The Bible declared that they will return to Israel soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I ain't getting into that.
You put those two together.
Look, me either, because baby, look.
So let me do a jump start to what Andrews is alluding to.
Okay.
And I'll see if I can help Sister Lavender at the same time.
Help us all, because what?
The people that you see there occupying the space and the land today are not the people that God gave the land to.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are a different breed called Ashkenaz Jews.
Okay.
There's a difference between Jew and Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. The Jews come from Judah.
Mm-hmm.
That is a tribe. That's where
the tribe of Judah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We
sing about them.
Yeah, we can go all the way back to that.
Okay.
Okay. There are 12 tribes, right? And Judah was one of the 12. So now, therefore, we push on. The people that are there now are returning back from Europe. They're a lighter version of those people. So yeah.
What?
Yeah. The other people, if you go back and look at any of your ancient texts, they had a color that don't resonate with the color that you see today.
Okay.
What we call Jew. They are Jewish. That's the religion, not the bloodline. Yeah.
So how they getting back over there?
That's the people that Hitler killed.
See, okay.
Not he wasn't coming to get us.
We're gonna have to have some.
I tell you, it's bigger than the crash course. I tried to do a jump start.
Because look, all I remember from church is the Jews and the Gentiles.
Yeah.
Like all
yeah. And so we never taught what the Jews were. It's 12 tribes of it. Yeah.
Man, it's so much. It's so much. It's so much. We got some scriptures going up if y'all want to read that and put it all together. See where this stuff comes from.
KJ.
Because it gets heavy. And then it all plays into politics as we know it. Because these are the issues that we're talking about. So then you see Free Palestine. What is that about? So like it's all of that. And I see a lot of college students who are well aware of what that is, but then a lot of older adults who have no clue.
Well, let's come on to the United States. The United States helped set up this state, fake state, in 1948. They gave this state land place. So the investment is a return investment because those people were the original people that invested in the expeditions that came to set up 13 colonies. Does that make any sense? So we're talking about, when you think about the Ashkenaz, the Jewish people we're talking about today, we're talking about your banks, your media,
my goodness,
your movies, right? And you can make those connections how you want to, but they own it all, brother. They got the money.
And this is the trouble people get in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There is a line between acknowledging a group's success and it start to trickle over into conspiracy theories that makes it anti-Semitic.
Ooh, that's what happens. All right, so before we get anti anything, we're gonna be very well aware of the time. We're gonna head into the top of the next hour right now. If you're calling, just hold on. We'll be there in just a moment. You're listening to the Abby Award-winning show where we teach all types of lessons every week, and I'm learning to. Right here on B94.9 WATV. Hold tight.
It's a tricky slope.
passive way of putting it. Are you stating? Is the assertion that we shouldn't protect Harris because we're black men,
or because she's not a black woman?
Because she's not a black woman.
There you go. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you all will continue the fabrication that she is a African woman that she's not, and you're trying to put on us the responsibility of taking care of someone who have not only imprisoned men, I don't know how many men, but she also imprisoned women who also lost their lives behind the truancy law. Now we can go into that too. Let's talk about the immigration. I mean, we can talk about immigration. There's a whole list of things we can talk about. And we're gonna be true.
Well, before we get to that, I would like to say the one drop rule ain't a rule that we created. Within the black community, we can have a conversation about when somebody does have a level of African blood inside of them, what we do with that community. But when we're talking about a white community who is using that as a linchpin to not support somebody versus an intra-community conversation that we should be having about what we do with that, that's what I'm talking about it from the vantage point of. She has some blackness in her that deserves to be protected from my vantage point, because the system used to tell us that if you ain't the color of this paper bag, then you don't qualify.
So, but since you are the color of this paper bag, you're black. You're of color, period.
Well, let me, and to tag that, no one said she was an African American. And if you want to trace, and you got to do your research to trace her roots, you got to go to her dad's side, which is her dad's mom's side.
Okay.
Right? All right. So there you will find a group of slaves, and but we're not gonna get into that part. But let me do this. She went to a black institution called Howard in the 80s.
They don't care.
She pledged the first black sorority in the 80s. When pledging was a whole process, right? So
same black sorority.
If I'm looking to be other, I don't go to a Mecca of something to be other.
Ooh.
That's like Jesus going to Egypt to hide. It doesn't make sense.
Well, they've been smart enough to know it's something that they do on a regular practice. They play black when they need to benefit themselves. So they get scholarships to benefit themselves, pass off as being black.
I don't know, from my perspective, not when you consider the anti-black sentiment within the Indian community.
Yeah.
Like they don't
black.
Play that.
And they be blacker than black. They blacker than me.
Yeah.
Blacker than
Just
black, right?
Up 2
right? Like these brothers, sisters, but they don't identify as such.
No.
So are we talking about complexion or culture?
Culture.
It got to be culture.
It's both.
Okay.
Like
because she's brown.
Yeah, she passed the brown test.
And if the black people at Howard and the black AKAs accept her as black, you know what I'm saying? Why do we now?
Because she ain't blacker than black.
She ain't,
Caller, you're in with the show.
The black people at Howard.
Turn your radio down. Turn your radio down.
Because she ain't blacker than black.
Listen to that.
Caller, you're in with the show.
The black people at Howard.
Turn your radio down. Turn your radio down.
I want to give you a second.
Listen to Caller, you're in with the show.
Okay, maybe they want us to hear us. When you call in, turn your radio down. 994-8949 is the number. 994-8949 is the number. So look, who is it? What it?
He said not this week.
So you're listening to the show right here on the V. Vital, always vital, always vital. And we want to hear from you about these various topics. So many things are going on in the world, and we're all paying attention to what's happening with national politics as it relates to the presidential candidacy. We got to get us a new president. Either way, we got to get a new one because the one that's in won't be it November 5th, right?
That's it.
So either it'll be an old white guy or a non-colored woman. Whatever y'all say she is. Golly, but it's got to be one. And I think a lot of people are going with what makes sense.
And I think we're going to be governed by somebody, y'all.
Right. So somebody,
so I think it's less about just invalidating the person that you don't like, but actually assessing which person is good for your politics.
All right, caller, you're in this time.
Just invalidate.
Hello.
Hey, turn your radio down.
Can you hear me?
We can now. Go ahead.
Awesome. You look, I don't know. I was just riding down the road and Actually, I just heard y'all talking about God and all this and that.
Yeah.
I know I'm not really on the topic of, talking about the lady or whatnot in politics, but believe it or not, I don't know if it's 94.9 or 95.7. I also was listening and going down the road where they were talking about God got this dwelling place on earth and stuff like this. I know it's off the topic, but I'm just bold and courageous.
All right.
And this is what God is looking for. And I am one of his priesthoods. So I know this kind of strange because you probably ain't never had nobody to do this, but I was just wanting to let you guys know that I'm from the World Mission Society Church of God, and we're located in Birmingham. And anybody at the show or anybody that's listening to me, like I said, it's across from Veterans Park, and we believe not only in the Father, we also believe in the Mother God, and she's prophesied throughout the Bible. So I really don't worry about politics, Democrat, and all that, because I serve the true living God, and Mother God, she's on earth, and she's from South Korea. And actually, the Bible prophesies that our Heavenly Father will come from South Korea. And he's second coming Christ has already came. And he said that his word's going to go from the end of Samaria to everybody going to hear about his word. And I want to be the one, I don't mind coming in, sitting down, talking with you guys. Actually, I'm a baby, you know what I'm saying? But it's just powerful, my situation, what I've been through, how I get to meet the true living God on earth. God has his dwelling place. He has his dwelling place.
I'm gonna have to cut it, but I do want you to text me 205-452-0111. 205-452-0111. Send me your name, send me your church. That's a very interesting conversation.
Very.
I want to hear more. So yeah, text me your information. Thank you for calling in, Caller, you're in with the show. What's your?
Hey, I had to call back. Okay, I know my I know my brother's over there. I know he's steaming right now.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Don't apologize.
No, because I can't let false information about false prophets and falsehood. There's no mother God. There's no mother God.
Okay.
There's no mother God on this earth.
All right.
I'm gonna, because if I start going in with scripture and everything, I'm gonna be on here for hours.
I hear you.
So I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that.
Okay.
I'm gonna let Johnson handle that. Johnson, handle that, please.
We coming back, Kendrick. Thank you for calling back on that, though. You call back anytime. Call back anytime. So look, the airwaves are for everybody. We're reaching people everywhere with all types of thoughts, beliefs, ideals, ideas, backstories, and I respect all of them. I respect your opinion and your views. It's a talk show, and you're welcome here.
Yeah.
Now, if we agree, that's not what this is about. If I agree or not.
Right.
And I might not. But nevertheless, 994-8949 is the number. You can call in with your thoughts, feelings, questions, comments, and all of that as well. Back on topic, because we were diving into some biblical history about who people are, how they got where they are. And that's one of those shows or topics that we really need to put some work in. We need to really pull out some books and see. First, it goes into that too, because if we just started having a conversation about Palestine, Israel, Bethlehem, all of those places, and we went all the way to North Korea. You see how that happened? South Korea. You see how that happened?
It went there.
We just went. We went out.
I love it though. See, that's how you reach people.
Yeah, and that's how you have to study too. You have to study, child. Woo.
Keith, I knew Keith was coming.
All right, Keith, that's not right. Christ has not returned to earth yet. We don't know when he will return, but he will return. The Bible declares that no one knows the time of his return. So a lot of people say that these are our last days. And I ain't gonna even lie. I don't know what the last days feel like, but I know what I've heard and what I've read about the last days. And a lot of what I see does look that way. Do we feel hopeless about what's happening in the world today? Is there a sense of hopelessness?
No, not for me.
I'm
not without hope.
Okay.
I'm frustrated,
that's good to hear.
Yeah,
so we are still hopeful.
Yeah. I serve God.
Okay.
So it don't matter who's sitting in the White House. Yeah. But yeah, I really don't want to have that type of conversation on no radio waves. But I think being open to different faiths, over different beliefs. You get to learn more about yours. Let me say it like that. And so I think the angle that she's coming from is one that's not definitely all across the Bible. It is Old Testament, and a lot of people are swinging on one notion, and that's because in Genesis 1, the Holy Spirit is a feminine now. It's a feminine. It's not. It's really gender neutral. So
it's a spirit.
Okay, now there we go. And so you can look at it one time, but the way God is, he does not change. So the character of God is equated throughout the whole Bible in a way. Right? And yes, he has showed up in other forms, right? We know that. But there is no one on earth that is God. Right? And to say that it is now, Mother God, that's almost closely related to the Virgin Mary and how we get that whole Catholic superstition. But I really don't want to have that doctrine and dialogue. But I'll just
but that's a full, like I said, that's a full conversation, and we do make room for that. We've had those conversations before.
I would like to hear, and let her come on and let's have that conversation. But I don't want to have to do it and she can't come back with,
Yeah.
We
got to flush it out before you get on the radio, because 2 hours I can't devote to it. Okay. So speaking about what is happening with the political climate, how people are taking things in and making things their own, that's a big part of it. That is a big part of it. You have to be open-minded and hear people from their vantage point and from their perspective and even their experiences. One last thing about the caller that we had, she spoke about her experiences. That's what she said. My experiences and what got me to this point. Okay. So I can't speak to her experiences. Only she can. And I make room for that every day. That's part of the job. So I want to talk about Diddy.
Yeah, man.
And I know, hey, there are, all of these things go together. Everything we're discussing goes together. Power, money, abuse, emotional abuse, neglect, ego. Oh man. Power, control. Okay. The attitude about women, minors, people that can't defend themselves. Ooh, sounds so similar, right? You would think that I may be talking about Donald Trump, but I'm not. I am talking about the conversation with Sean Combs. There's a whole, I say the conversation, this is a situation, and it's relevant because of everything that I'm saying, and because there's the race piece too, where everybody says that they're always out to bring down a black man. That's another piece of the conversation. There's another piece of the conversation where victims have been silenced or ignored because nobody could prove that they were really victims. See, people get quiet on this part of the conversation. They think that it's just entertainment news. It's not entertainment. These are people's lives, and these are people's, as we like to refer to, traumas. These are their traumas, and Diddy is the hand that rocked the cradle. Maybe. Okay. So Iggy said Diddy did it to himself. So Diddy, just kind of playing back on some things that I've seen here recently. Just like with R. Kelly, there were some things that were not addressed when they should have been addressed about the personality type and things that I know somebody acknowledged when help could have been provided or intervention could have been given. But no, because you are who you are. You make money, you make good music, you are in circles, you are whatever, whoever, you get a pass until you don't. So Diddy's pass is up. And Cassie dropped the ball, and a lot of people came out, and boom, he's in jail until his court date, which may be whenever. Okay.
That's the background.
All right, so that's just a backstory. Now, why is Diddy in jail? What happened? What has he been charged with? What has happened? We all saw the video with him abusing Cassie in the hallway. I mean, if that ain't enough, that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back with all the allegations from over the years, gun charges, racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking, so many different accusations. What do you gentlemen feel about what is happening with Sean Combs?
what is happening is he getting the just desserts. He getting what he supposed to be had coming to him for what he been doing.
So you don't feel any type of sympathy?
Zero.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
negative
Well,
sympathy.
all right. Well, all right then.
I do think it's a larger picture. I do find it strange, and I'm not going down the Umar Johnson trail in that way, but I do find it strange that the company he's working with in partnership with that is pushing the liquor bill for him. I find it strange they lose a lawsuit, and then now he's in it. And Umar is not the only person that put out those nuggets. There are several others, but you are never too big for them, right? And you're never too big to be handled.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about people with money is you get used to not being told no. And when you have control, it sounds like I'm talking about somebody else, y'all. When you have control and power, the hardest person to tell no is yourself.
Oh, wait.
Because everybody else is trying to get to you because of the money. And then you have all of these assailants, Rico, as in with Kelly and others, and everything gets pushed on the rug, and you're paying people to do things against their own will, but because they need this money, because they, or I ain't gonna say need, but because they work for you, let me say it that way, they're going to cover their eye and do what you're asking them to do, knowing it's not right, right? But if you think about this, it's similar to my boy Kelly. He been saying and doing this jump so long, and we've been so blinded because he been saying it right in our face, all in the interviews. And it's not like nobody's shocked, right? But we're looking at it like, but wow.
But it is shocking because it's like you end up shocked because you be like, dang, was I slow? Like, how did I not see this art reflecting real life? And he was bold enough to write about it and talk about it and be interviewed about it and tell the truth. We want people to tell the truth, but then when they tell the truth, we think it's a part of an act because of who they are. Diddy presented as an overly freaky, super sexual, loud, emotionally, physically, sexually, and financially abusive terror. He presented himself as charming, controlling. And I saw somebody say that he had the God complex. He has a God complex where he actually sees himself as such. And they talked about private meetings and gatherings where he would have these moments of kind of identifying as God.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something about R. Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
First, because R. Kelly called himself the Pied Piper of R&B.
You feel me?
And if y'all know the original German story of the Pied Piper, it has something to do with kids, right? The difference with R. Kelly is that he didn't have like a system where everybody else was involved in. It was him getting away with this stuff. And so that speaks to the people around him that enabled him to participate in the way that this is really the best job they'd have never had in their life. And they don't know that they get a better job after this if they go to somebody and say, hey, R. Kelly is doing this stuff.
When you just said that, though, it takes me to a bigger picture of thinking I get a deal, a major deal. I'm a major recording artist. I'm one of the most popular recording artists of all time. R. Kelly was illiterate, right?
Very.
Or is illiterate?
Very.
What research did he do about being the Pied Piper to call himself that? And I'm saying that because maybe these personas and these images are given to them to play into, or either to, I ain't never been this sounds like conspiracy, but I'm not there.
You heard of Grimm fairy tales? So a lot of
Father Grimm, somebody Grimm.
A lot of the stories that we hear in America are actually from German tales, which are very, very harsh. Like Hansel and Gretel died in Germany because Germany used to use a lot of folklore to scare kids into good behavior. America brought a lot of those stories over here, but they kind of gave it they got saved kind of sentiment. Like when you think about stuff like Red Riding Hood, that is a horrendous story to go through. It's the same thing as the Pied Piper. The traditional, the American story of Pied Piper is the Pied Piper played the tune and the rats left. But in the German version, it's kids left because they didn't pay him for getting rid of the rats. They just didn't add the other part. So it's very easy for R. Kelly to have heard the story of the Pied Piper when he was a kid, liked it, and just didn't know that you could that it had these other roots to it.
Maybe.
Okay. I like that because there is a parallel between the two guys. Both were disturbed as children. Both are regurgitating and duplicating what was done to them.
Well, what do we know about Diddy's childhood?
Oh,
his parents. I'm gonna find some clips and send
that's
them.
stuff I hadn't even.
Yeah, so
like he was pimping and drugs and
mom was
all that.
Yeah, there's video I can't remember, but him and his mom like kissing the mouth like in another type of way, like, "Hey, mama." Yeah,
not that.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
there's a whole side with mom, right? And everybody said, because once that trauma is there, it unlocks in your adult child, your adult relationship.
The mother wound, for both of them, I would assume, and then the abuse, sexual, emotional, mental abuse. But furthermore, thinking about the man, and just kind of looking like now that you're seeing all of these different things come out and these different signals, body language, facial expressions. Watching his people respond to different things and how he communicated with them through body language, those abuse tactics, and me being able to see them now and seeing for what they are. Like, okay, so all of this was there, but he hid behind that narcissistic piece of charm, the big fake cheesy smile, the bouncing around, dancing, and opportunities and voting campaigns, and even had a whole island, Love Island. Changed his name to Love.
Brother Love.
What? So it's things like that. Like we.
And the interview on the Breakfast Club really got me. Did y'all see that one? He was sitting
that one, the one with Conan.
And he
all of like what?
He said, "Look at Daddy." I was like, "Look at Daddy."
Yeah.
Who are you talking about?
Yeah.
And when you drunk, you try. No, sir.
And
No,
stories
sir.
50
No,
Cent
sir.
be telling.
No, sir.
Right.
Like a bunch of people got stories, and it's like some of them being kind of shaky, but clearly now it's like,
generally speaking,
a lot of things that we have been overlooking look different. I do want to say something to the sentiment of the Dr. Umars and the Faison Loves.
Mm-hmm.
The only jumping to black man's aid immediately without acknowledging the possibility that stuff might be true is socially irresponsible.
I agree.
I think you do that after you don't do that if you think the stuff is true. You don't talk about the elites. You don't, because it minimizes what your perception of the issue is, and that's the heat Umar catching right now. He catching the heat behind it seeming like he don't believe that Diddy did the stuff that he did because there are power structures that might have activated it. Because it may be true that there are power structures that activated because you weren't playing ball like they want to play.
Yeah.
But you don't bring that up if you bring that up if they didn't do nothing and they being framed, not if they actually did all the stuff. And this was just the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, it's the deflection.
So you had like OJ Simpson. That was one of those things where black people didn't want to believe that OJ did it because he's OJ, and the glove didn't fit. Like all of those different things. Bill Cosby. We didn't want to believe that Bill Cosby did any of this stuff. Who else? Anybody else? Everybody that's resigning now because of what's happening with Diddy. Like what you resigning for? He was there. Yeah. So I'm thinking about all of those different angles of this thing. Like it's so many different angles and so many possibilities because he lived on Star Island and had other properties all over everywhere, and we've seen the monster in action. That's one video that we've seen, but other people have seen things in person. They've seen it with their own eyes.
Right.
I've been asking people, because we love a good party. We love a good time. If you got an invite to a Diddy party before knowing all of this or just kind of hearing rumbling of it, would you go?
And most people will tell you yes.
Yeah, I would have
because
gone.
It wasn't the party, it was the after party.
Oh, after the show with the after party. They told us that too. So you would go. You would have gone. You would have put on your all white, went to his lavish party, and he got on TV and he told you that it's got to be hot. It ain't no air. Man, we don't have no air. Jonathan, he said you got to have water because ladies like water. You got to have alcohol. Alcohol.
It's alcohol though.
Yeah, probably got to have some rock. You got to have beautiful ladies, and then he said you got to have beautiful men for the beautiful ladies. There was some other elements. So like I would want to go to a Diddy party. I would be calling around trying to see like, hey, y'all got me on the list, right? How do you know when to leave? How do you know like this is now turning into a freak off?
They said leave at midnight.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Midnight, like that's an early party.
Go on. Hey, you had fun. Go on.
That's
We
Yeah.
used to be leaving like 2.
Yeah, that's
So by
not
2
a-
o'clock, I would have been able to
that's
give
not
a Diddy account.
Yeah, you need to go.
the
on.
party don't stop. It just turn into Red District party.
Oh, so I would be like,
Red light.
hey, I'm in the bathroom. Look at all of this, baby. Oh, I think I need to go. So just kind of thinking about how we may be in these same situations with people not knowing what they fully engage in, but they've been so very well welcomed because of the access that they have. And people like to be around people with access and people with celebrity and people with popularity and influence.
Clout chasing.
Right. Like, and then just that's who has a good time. They host a good time. I want that good time. I don't want Eddie's party favor of a muffin and a candle. I want Diddy's party favor of a case of Ciroc. What else? Like,
A child on the table.
no,
Yeah.
I don't want
Gotta
that.
have the dancers.
That's what's there.
I
Whether
didn't
you
see
want it or
that.
not, you just walked. You are witnessing a crime.
Yeah.
Because you stayed till 12:01 being curious.
I didn't know, right? So look, this is real talk though. Like if I go to a party and I don't know that your freaky party starts at midnight, because typically I'm thinking like the after party is like a little bit later than midnight. First of all, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that. So I'm probably gonna stay just a few minutes, especially if I'm not sleeping. And then like me last decade, I definitely would have stayed a little bit later.
Like everybody else did.
Yeah, I would have stayed a little bit later. So then, if I would have stayed a little bit later, would I now be like, oh, damn, I wonder if I'm on a video? But like, if I'm just partying, why would I be nervous about being on these videos? And that's what I'm trying to put that piece out there for everybody. Like, you may see the Obamas, you saw TD Jakes, Oprah, some other people that they named. These people, I mean, they could be at the party.
Yeah, they can.
So what's the issue? What are they afraid of?
The after party.
So y'all think they stay for? You think the people I just named stay for the after party?
I think the issue is being a person that didn't stay for the after party, not knowing who actually stayed, and the people asking you who was there, who do you remember being there, and who did you leave with, trying to figure out who was left behind. Like again, if you were at the all white party, you were there with people who stayed for the after party.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
I mean,
But
I've heard.
do you know who's who?
Yeah.
Right? That's the variable. That's the reason why you were still like you were at the occupation where minors were being trafficked at the back of the house.
Before, I mean, at the after party. So the first party is the normal party. So this is the interview with Ellen where she talked about the after party.
Yeah.
And it was seemingly uncomfortable, but this is on live too. And that's just the thing, y'all. Like celebrating and lifting these people up on platforms because they have money means I don't care that you have what you have in that sense where I'm gonna just
They said his mama used to have parties.
But so he grew up in these parties.
He grew up with the parties. And
it developed.
I just found it odd too. I don't know if y'all thought about this. Do y'all remember the Cat Williams Shay Shay interview?
Yeah.
And he said, one, you got to protect the virgin. But he said, you walking, and I've heard all the way back, you just walking, admiring the place, and you looking for a restroom, and you go in the wrong one.
Happen.
Like, wait a minute.
Okay.
What's going on?
Okay. And I've been in some places like that too.
Yeah.
And you close the door
and just carry on.
Especially if it's not if it's not a child, if it's not like something that's, you know what I'm saying? Like you kind of know when things look like, oh snap, that could be a problem. I'm gonna go and leave and I'm gonna call the police.
But you walk in on two dudes that are famous that you know.
Oh, I'm probably gonna go sit in the car for a minute and be like, what?
It's time to go. It's time to go. What's going on here?
Okay.
But we're looking at it and think about all those people, but our local families do the same thing. And have done. Our churches have done the same thing. So it's very easy to close that eye.
Until one day.
Somebody get tired.
Who
get sick and tired.
Until one day. And then the way that it unravels. So that's why I'm like, okay, people that are abusive, and I mean from the top to the bottom, like you will have your day. And so then that's when we had statements like, no sympathy. I don't care. You could sit on the floor Indian style for 3 weeks, however long you're going to be in there, because they're talking about the conditions of the prison that he's in. So
And
it's
then,
children that are probably victims of the emotional abuse, I'm quite sure, on a higher level.
It's making me think of a scripture, but I'll put it out there like this. What's done in the dark will come to the light. It ain't it might.
It might, maybe.
Y'all remember Mace?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mace turned into a whole preacher. He got saved. You know what? I'm not gonna play with this no more.
And now that he talks about it, have you heard any yeah. So, and again, similar to our brother who's locked up, Kelly. Now that I listen to those songs and the music, it's like, oh, you've been talking about that for a long time.
You sick though. So, like, as a mental health professional, my mind goes there. Dang. Where's the room for that? Like, it's almost no room for that.
Take that.
Half on a baby could be about conception, but it could also be about two predators going
half on a
child.
Baby. Yeah. To the phone line.
I don't know.
Caller.
We don't know.
Come on in here.
Hey, what's up, Lady Boo?
What's up? Come on in here.
Well, I'm just one man with an opinion.
Okay.
And a lot of this stuff, number one, that this is what makes Hollywood weird. Mm-hmm. And people don't understand that the very word itself, Hollywood, is pagan in an existence. Hollywood, or the Hollywood tree, is the tree where the Merlin and the sorcerer got the little wand to do their little magic hocus with. And the Hollywood tree is where the broom that the witch rode on, that's where the broomstick comes from. So the very word itself, Hollywood, is pagan and demonic, in its origin. And this stuff has been going on in Hollywood ever since Hollywood was Hollywood. A lot of stuff goes on behind closed doors that a lot of we would never hear about. You go all the way back to Little Rascals with Alfalfa and what brought about his demise. And so many others. Richard Pryor hinted at it. He talked about having to bend over on the casting couch to get certain roles in Hollywood. And the list goes on and on. You look at with Rick James and a lot of stuff that Charlie Murphy basically had a second career talking about the craziness that went on at Rick James's house. And if you look at the stuff that he was actually convicted of, there's some truth to it. And a lot of times we try to psychoanalyze it, and there may be some psychoanalysis to it, but in actuality, it's just the dark side to power and the perversion thereof.
Thank you so much. Now we can these folks teaching tonight, ain't it?
No, Iggy always coming with
caller. What you got? Hello.
Hello. I'm just listening because I got out of my car and I text you. I think you told me to text you. I'm the lady that was calling about the good news, the gospel. So, like you said, it'll have to be a time where y'all got time for me. But yeah, I really, like I said, I really want to let you guys know this is the best news. That's, he's saying that it's not no mother God. She's prophesied all throughout the Bible, and I was the same person like everybody else.
Okay, let's stay on topic though. You got my number, we got your information. Thank you for that. So Hollyweird. I learned about this tree. I ain't know that about the witch's broom. Came from a Hollywood tree.
Listen, man.
Maybe that's why I ain't making it.
That's the whole maybe
that's why
conspiracy
here. What about it? Conspire
to see. Okay, so what do we see when we think about this place? Lives are ruined.
Jamil.
And it's a whole list of people who are quiet for a reason, right? So, like Brother Iggy said, so you can go modern Sodom and Gomorrah.
Ooh, what happened there?
Yeah, you can go there because what goes on in two places stays on in two places. You know the other city. Hollywood is and we've been hearing these stories for a long time. And we've been seeing people change for a long time and
true.
becoming feminine a long time. And if you, you got to put on a dress.
And that's just one side of it. Like it's so many different layers to
there.
Yeah, it's different layers to what happens in sin. Like we talk about Hollywood, talk about Birmingham, you talk about Montgomery, you talk about Orlando, wherever it may be, people with power and money and influence, right? Like it could be a deadly combination, but it can also be a great thing.
It can.
Give me
but
some
most of the times it's a drug.
Oh, what we mean? The more money, the more power. You can get the money. You can get the power.
More money, more problems.
I think what happens is when you get a whole city full of elites, I think it begins to create a particular type of culture.
Yes.
You got a city full of elites. It creates a bunch of these wealth pockets in which people want to gain that wealth, and they do it through media, through music, through movies, and they become parts of that world. And people who don't have power, who are trying to get, they don't even have to be trying to get that power. They just have to be trying to make a life for themselves, have to bend to that power to do it. And so Hollywood is a place that cultivated those experiences. And again, all of the stuff that's going on in Hollywood happens in all of these little cities. There are pedophiles getting arrested in cities. There are rapists getting arrested in cities. There are grown men who are messing with teenage girls in cities. And Hollywood just takes a power structure and condenses all of that into people who can order that when they want to, and who can create bribery meals like P. Diddy did in order to keep himself out of trouble, because everybody who can potentially, tell on him got him on video. Got him on video somehow.
Going live. We're going to go live, and then I get all y'all going live, and I stay at the camera. Was he talking in the background of some of the videos? Yeah.
Who?
Diddy.
That's what Suge Knight said.
Yeah.
Dancing in the back.
Why you got to get on camera to get off camera? All right. Think about that, Justin. Man.
So, okay. So, yeah, so many different elements of this, and oh man, so many pieces. So it's mind blowing a lot of times, because like I said, these are the people that will be the forerunners for great causes, great initiatives. Diddy was a whole voting machine around about this time. How many years ago was that? However many years ago that was. 20. How many years ago was that when Obama was running?
8 and 12.
The first time. That's when Diddy and all of them had the major campaigns. You look at that type of imagery and you think like, okay, so people, I always ask the question, I ask it every day in group, is there such thing as good people and bad people? Can we define people as good and or bad? And some people are like, yeah. Then we process it a little bit more. No, we really can't. Good people do bad things sometimes. Bad people do decent things sometimes. Bad people do good things, right? Like we see people doing some amazing things, and there are some horrible people that truly don't like themselves. So they don't care about you.
And if I'm thinking of this correctly, I want to just use this. Let's just take that. Good people, bad people, right? Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to a character trait and reputation, which takes more than just one isolated incident, because I'm a one that believe God freed me from being identified and defined by my mistake.
Okay.
Right. I made a mistake. We call that I was acting out of character. Right. Or that was uncharacteristic. So I think that the character speaks from the longevity of the behavior, which also precedes the reputation. Right. From this vantage point, these things have been happening, and you've been making, or you're acting, or you're exhibiting these traits the whole time. Right. You can hide being good for so long. Anybody can be good for 90 minutes. Anybody can act and be a certain way publicly, but who you are at the core is going to eventually show.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that goes back to the good or bad. This dude has evidently fooled all of us, or we gave him a pass.
Or just did. I mean, like you're a celebrity that we don't know, but we know of you, and you just kind of, you don't matter until you matter in the grand scheme of things.
The way that I look at
good
is I don't think that you can mass apply good to anything.
Okay.
and especially humanity. The way that I see myself is, one, I can't call myself good or bad. Only people outside of me can.
Right.
That was one of the points. Like, it's other people's perspective. And I'm like, but is that actually true? Because people have had experiences with us, and some people have had bad experiences with good people. That doesn't make me a bad person. That's just their perspective of that experience.
Well, my way of saying what Ref said is good is a chain link series of moments.
Okay.
That lasts from birth to death. And a longer strand of good from other people's perception will make you good. A longer strand of bad will make you bad. But also, you could be good that does an egregious bad that erases a lot of the good that you did. You know, I don't think that there is a level of maximum good that you can do that erase a whole bunch of bad. You know, it's kind of like averages in tests. Like A don't bring an F up fast, but an F will bring an A down real quick. It's kind of that sentiment. So, I mean, I think it's, at the end of the day, a subjective scale, because it's people out there saying free R. Kelly and free P. Diddy.
Yeah. And for what reason? Like, for what reason?
They got a different scale. They make me dance 2-step.
So let them out.
Yeah.
Free Young Thug. You know, they free Young Thug, free my brother, free all these people that are locked up because they my people. No other reason than that.
Yeah, and I would push back on just this one part. I agree with you on those people. I think those people are also against the system.
Okay.
As so much as the person that they want to be free. Because you know, this person kills all these people, and now he's killed, and it's, you know, we're gonna automatically put him somewhere that he ain't never lived, right? I push back in this regard though, only because that is the whole purpose of my core, and that is I can be that terrible guy and experience and have a true encounter with Yahshua and change that experience and live a different way to make the rest of my dash complete, right? And so I just think that part can be, I think that you can right the wrongs just like you can start making the rights wrong.
Look, okay, I hear you.
Okay.
I hear you all. Now, when I was having this discussion on Thursday, we were just talking about, I made them go out and do an activity. I told them to go and ask everybody in the building to give you one good person, one bad person. And the people that they came back with as bad people, they said Hitler. That was one. Somebody did say Donald Trump. For a good person, somebody said Michelle Obama. One other person said my uncle. So they started like okay. So the personalized experience makes people good or bad. But I wanted them to go and ask because I wanted us to have a conversation about people's perspective of good and bad. We don't know any of these people that y'all talking about. Like, none of them. I don't know. I don't even know Michelle Obama. I've been in the same space with her, but I don't know her. I don't know what she's done. I don't know how she thinks. I don't know how she talks to people, how she treats people. I don't know what she cares about. So I don't know that she's good in that sense. But then I said, well, one question that I have for you, are you a good person? I can say, yeah, I'm a good person. And when I say that, I mean that. I wouldn't go to, it depends. Well, you know, it just depends on who you ask. And I kept saying, I asked you, are you a good person? So if I asked you all that, are you a good person? What would you say?
Most people gonna say yeah.
You would hope.
Most people don't characterize them as being a bad person.
I
say most.
But that's dicey because when people hear me say I don't think I'm a good person, it's rooted in a belief system I have. But I'm not saying I'm a bad person. I'm just saying I'm a person that has an opportunity to have good moments when decisions come up to be made. And I hope that I'm making the good ones enough that you can see that I'm a good person. But I'm not going to attribute that to myself.
But does it matter that much that somebody else sees you as a good person as opposed to how you see you and what you know you are?
Not to me. And that goes into like the sentiment I had about what you said is like, I believe that there is a level of bad that you could have done, that the shift and the change that you do is for your individual spirit and your own journey forward. That doesn't have any crossover with the social perception of yourself.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I won't take away that you have changed, and inside of you, you know you changed, But outside of you, nobody have to believe that you changed, and they may never believe that you changed.
Yeah,
that is
you
true.
know. So I think that there is a version of righting your wrongs that is for you, and a version of righting your wrongs that won't be perceived as such in socially perceived version of you.
All right. So we got to this question off of the Diddy story and the saga that we're following about these people, entertainers who we give so much whatever we give to them, so much of that to them, so much attention, so much whatever. But these are people having public experiences that we can pick apart and say and see that this could be your uncle, this could be your daddy, this could be you, because these are just people who have had some resources that allow them to people in a way different direction. These people been peopling differently from us. My parties never turned into that. There have been some after parties. Never turned into that.
I bet if you turned your party into that, it'll be about 10% of the people will be down with staying.
Oh yeah, but not if I turned it into a Diddy after party.
5%.
Yeah, I think so. People that freaky.
Absolutely.
Yo,
yes.
that nasty out
Bro,
here.
like nobody telling you about their kinks out loud, but they got them.
I know. Okay.
We have them. We have these moments in sororities and fraternities. I'm just trying to put it in perspective because I'm trying not to go way out there, but yeah, we have orgies. And
these are not things that are foreign
with our boys,
right?
and in the hood, and and the music is out there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? All of that.
There's a song by Lil Wayne called Keisha.
And all of that being consensual is all fine and dandy, you know. But again, there is a group of men that attain that was perceived to be power that in fraternities, not the whole of the group, but there are some people who get into that for that power and end up using it to prey on women. And then a group of those men will prey on women, and it's like 5 dudes done did something with this girl, and it's like at the end of the day, it was pressure, and it was not quite as consensual as it needed to be. And or if it became non-consensual at some point, those dudes didn't stop. You know, so there's a lot to go into the psyche of people when it comes to these situations.
All right, 994-8949 is the number to get in on this conversation. A very robust conversation with several different pieces to it. We, just kind of chopping it up all around. So we're talking about Diddy and what we're seeing with him. A lot of people are fooled by Puff Daddy, but we've always heard different things. We heard Biggie's mama saying that, yeah, he had my son killed. We've heard other stories about we've heard stories about everybody. We hear stories about people we know, and you don't know until you know. And when you start finding out, boy, oh boy.
If there is a reason for Diddy not to survive in prison, is to let him have some kind of trophy of putting a hit out on Tupac or Biggie.
Ooh.
If there's a reason for him not to survive,
that's the beginning.
Yeah, let him get into prison and they find that out. Somebody gonna poke him up.
My card down here, I was watching one of the I've just been watching some different things with the Diddy situations, and there was a lady that was shot and injured. She was injured, like she was shot in the whole Diddy gun type thing. And her statement was, every dog has his day. Like, he called something, he got off with the whole shine gun thing in the club, whatever. Diddy was involved in that, got off. Justin Bieber, that's a whole nother aspect to the conversation. Justin Bieber, Usher, these camps that he had. Baby, why? I ain't ever think to drop my child off with nobody for a camp to get them, I guess, worked into shape to be prepared for Hollywood. Be coached. Well, that's a whole nother conversation. What do we do for money? How far we go for money?
Just think about the parents that were pimping their daughters.
Yeah, I be hearing that too.
Capitalism has done this,
and you just
capitalism.
People don't like hearing that, but capitalism has done this. Capitalism has created a gap between the elites and the poor so crazy that there's a very desperate portion of the poor that will actively always exist that is willing to do a lot for some money.
Yep.
Yeah.
And people who haven't been into that level of desperation and who would never consider giving your child up in a situation like that.
Desperation, And there's some other reasons too that people do things like that.
Desperation, their own trauma, moral bankruptcy. It's a whole bunch of other internal stuff that has to be going. The perfect storm have to happen for somebody like R. Kelly. They say, "Hey, just bring me your daughter and just leave her with me."
And for Diddy to have a whole party, and this is your party favor. A child is your party favor.
This is how you get it.
Well, like Justin
Bieber, you know what?
Emancipated, like at a certain point, like he emancipated and was put into custody of like Usher.
Yeah,
I thought it was Diddy.
No, they tried to emancipate and put him in custody of Diddy, but they wouldn't do that. So, what I guess I haven't done the research I need to do, but it sounds like Usher. They released him to Usher, and then Usher released him to Diddy.
I'm checking these. I'm sorry. I'm looking at these comments. They
got.
Oh, they've been in on that other conversation for a long time.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So and when I think about it, if y'all think about it, like people have done this locally, and we know these semicircles exist. And I'll point to this like we was talking off the radio. This dude killed Dolph for $800.
$800, but that cannot be the amount that they told him. $800.
$800.
Somebody would have done it for $800.
Somebody would do it for free.
And he said, I told my little girl I was gonna buy her, and I told my old lady I want to buy her a house. I was just trying to get some money for my girl's birthday.
I mean, to us,
yeah.
Listen, to us it sounds crazy.
Yeah, but not to and so the thing he said was, well, when I came to myself, when he got clean and he got off of everything that he was doing.
Okay. Full circle of how the drugs, all of these different components and different elements lead to what we're seeing in today's society. So that's how I end up asking people, are you hopeful? Are you still hopeful? People are like, yeah, I guess. Dang, ooh, that was heavy because we just but are you hopeful though? Yeah, I'm still hopeful. Okay, stay that way. Keep pushing that hope out. Be a hope dealer because there's a lot of destruction going on around us, and we're seeing it play out every day, either in court cases, on social media, with our children. We're seeing it every day. So, are you a good person? I want you to think about that question throughout the week, and put some effort into being a good person. What is a good person? What do they do? Where are they?
We gotta have part 2 on that one.
Yeah, what? How do they function in society? These good people that you speak of, Lady Wu. All right, so do that. That's your homework. Then there's a special election. I did not think about that. There's a special election if you live in District 52. Tuesday, October 1st. Okay, so don't forget that there's a special election. Kelvin Datcher is on the ballot. And I'm sure
that's John Rogers, OC.
So that if you live in that district, hopefully you know that you live in that district because you know what it is now. We talked about it when it was in the primaries, but you vote on Tuesday, October 1st. Speaking of October, my birthday is October 10th. So birthday's right around the corner. You guys planning something for me? You got something in store?
Well, can't tell secrets.
You better, because if not, 30 years from now, we'll be sitting on the stand somewhere. Well, they had a birthday party for Wu. So let me know. Please let me know. Please let me know what you got in mind.
Before you skedaddle.
Yeah, let me know what you got in mind, because I ain't coming to none of them type of parties.
Baby oil free party.
Yes, I'm not coming to none of those parties. And if there's anything that's wrong, I'm going to say I'm telling somebody, because y'all not going to have me talking about some later on down the line, because I will have. I forgot. Happy birthday to all the Libras. LaShonda, happy birthday to you. October 4th. What day is that? That's like Thursday or Friday. October 4th. Happy birthday to you. Everybody else is celebrating a birthday or a big day. Yeah, Fast 5 is right now. So what are you all leaving the people with? Anything that we did not discuss that we need to discuss this week? We won't be on next week because guess what I'll be doing? Celebrating my birthday. All right. So this week, anything that they need to know. Boom, boom. Y'all don't have nothing? Really? Y'all want to play a song for the last 5 minutes? I don't have anything. Nothing happened this week. Nothing that they need to look forward to this coming week.
Stay prayed up. Yeah. I definitely want to put out this into the atmosphere. There's a lot of death.
Yeah.
And not just from violence, but the hurricane.
Yes.
A lot of families are impacted and affected by this natural disaster. So I definitely, as Shonda said, I definitely want to lift up prayer for the city. We need to pray for our leaders. We need to pray for those that are in governance, both county and city, and on the state level. Practice loving somebody. We need to lift up love, change the narrative that we got to be hard and street and hood.
Yeah.
How about just try to do a good deed, just
What the
pass
world
on
needs
something.
now
Yeah,
is
we
love,
just
love.
I need to come back to we need to get back on the Marvin Gaye type. Yeah, we change the music, but in a real sense, yeah, lifting up the families, man, all of those affected, lifting up the families because some burials just took place with some of the victims this past week. So the funeral does not stop the crying and the pain.
Right. And yeah.
And no matter what your opinion and perception of a person is, that's still somebody's son, that's still somebody's daughter, and that's still somebody's mama or daddy. So you definitely want to pray for all. And we're going to pray for our city. Don't let this event stop you from going to good places. It happens. Things happen. They happen for a reason, but we may not know it. But I was glad to see a lot of you on the South Side, up in the 5 Points District. I was glad to see you. We are not going to let evil win.
All right.
And that's my end off.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Evil shall not prevail. The Vital Youth Crew is in full effect. We are looking for you, high school juniors and seniors, college freshmen and sophomore students. If you have something to say, a lot of times we have these conversations without the right people in the spaces. And I can't speak to you if I don't have a way to get to you. So we're going to put you on air because we want them to talk to us. Young people have something to say. I remember being a young person and having something to say. And I made platforms. We didn't even have social media back then, but I would write something, run copies of it, pass it out, whatever was needed. But now we have platforms. So we invite young people to be a part of the conversation, to actually lead the conversations. I'm going to do what I do on this side, but they will be in the studio as the Vital Youth Crew. So if you know somebody, they can hit me up on that same number I gave out earlier, 205-452-0111, 205-452-0111. Male, female students, all of them. Not teachers, not parents, not grandmas, not aunties, students, children, young people, youth, young adults. We need them. We want to hear from them. All right. So let them know, the Vital Youth Crew. They'll be airing on Sundays too with us and doing some things in the community. All right. Let's see. Final comments. Don't live in fear, but yet move out of intelligence. Because nowadays we can't go everywhere. All right. So be smart about how you move, but don't go anywhere else but right here on B94.9 WATV. I'll be back at noon tomorrow for Lady Wu's Midday Fun Show. Y'all be vital. Have a good night and a great week.